today? Friday, November 19th, 2021. So, yeah. The St. Louis Real Estate Investors Association. This is our Friday get together, buy, sell here, or contractors, or whatever you want to do. So, Lloyd, is there anything you want to say before we get started here?
Well, I might like to just make for people that were we had people that were at our meeting this past Tuesday, or were even more on the Zoom end of it. I'd like to get some feedback on how things went. I thought it went pretty well, considering that we were in St. Louis. Our main speaker was in Dubai, and her son was in Washington, D.C. office. I guess he went. We kind of spread out all over the country and the world. But considering that and her late connection coming in, I thought that final results turned out okay, and hopefully everybody they wanted to get a question, got their questions in. So I don't know. You were on the Zoom end of it, John. What did you think? Did you think it went out pretty good?
He had with the speaker on the other end of the world.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, the timing was a little messed up, and she had some things going on, but I think overall it went real well.
Yeah, and I got some good feedback from the people that were in the room at the Oasis room. So, I wonder if anybody else was on the Zoom end had a comment about it. I'd like to hear from you, because that's how we keep getting better. It's just all new for us too, doing all this hybrid stuff. This is only our third meeting here, and this was super hybrid, being our speaker was remote. But all things considered, especially thanks to the good crew we got there doing the videography and keeping the Zoom connection going at the Moolah Shrine Center. I gave him a pat on the back. Good, congratulations for how well their end of it did.
Yeah, they did a fantastic job, and we're really fortunate to have those guys. They're really as good as they get, in my opinion here.
Yeah, they've been key to keeping us online. So anyway, other than that, I don't have anything particular. John and I were just talking before we let y'all in that we'll probably not meet next week, since it's November that 26th, Black Friday, the Friday after Thanksgiving. If you're not out shopping, you're going to be like me, avoiding going to the stores, but still have other things to do over the maybe have a long holiday weekend to get some other things done. But because then the following week is December 3rd, and hopefully Kathy Davis will be back with us and give us an update on the courts. Have you heard anything different on that, John, that from Kathy, that she, as far as she knows, she's planning on being back on the December 3rd, the first Friday?
Great Thanksgiving, and tell everybody hi, and we'll see you then.
Okay.
So,
okay. Was everybody, anybody got anything as far as haves and wants? Have something to offer? I don't see any wholesalers that I know of online. They got something under contract they need to get. Looking for a buyer. We might have a buyer here. I know, see, Roger Wallach said a couple of weeks ago he was looking for a 4-family in University City, I believe. Yeah, he was looking for a potential rehab in U City. Or if you got a service to offer, or you're looking for somebody to provide a service. I know last week we got a couple referrals from Sandra Holtmeyer. She gave us her clean crew, and what was the other one? I wrote down the clean crew for sure. There's another one that David.
Lawn service. Lawn service.
Lawn service. That's right. Lawn service. Were you able to contact either of those with any luck?
I passed on to my people. So
that's right. Your people took care of that. Okay. Good. Yeah, I wish I could say that. I don't have all the people to take care of my my problems. So anyway, I don't have anything in particular. Unless somebody else wants to chime in here. I've got, talk about wholesalers. I got anybody that's on Faster Houses buyers list. Did you get the ding this morning, instant message this morning from, they have their first tiny house for sale. I would say no, I think it was in O'Fallon somewhere. But so they're even dealing in tiny houses now.
Is that in O'Fallon? You said, is that in like the city limits, or is it unincorporated? Do you know?
Let me see what the address was here. I got it just came in. I didn't Google map it. Yeah, they're asking 54.9. Let's see. Okay. Now let me just go back to the text here. I opened the 63368. Yeah, I'm not sure. That's I believe that's O'Fallon, but I'm not sure where, if it's in the city limits or outside. It's a 2-bedroom, 1 bath. I guess one of those. You fold out the sofa downstairs, makes into a bed, and then you climb up the ladder to the loft, and there's the second bedroom, quote unquote. 160 plus square feet with a full kitchen. They're asking 54.9. You ever thought about moving a tiny house onto one of your lake lots and seeing if it'll sell better, John?
Actually, what we've thought about was creating these barn dominiums, a micro barn, because we could build a pole barn fairly inexpensively, and that would fit with most of the most of the regulations and the things. That's why I was kind of asking if this was in the city limits somewhere, because I'm kind of curious to see how they approach that, because most communities have like a 450 square foot minimum on the first level or the main level.
Yeah.
Or at least a lot of them. There's some variation. So I'm just curious, these ones that get under 200 square foot, that's very tiny.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like a camper.
Yeah, it's about the same length as my motorhome. Well, I do have a second level above the cab. I guess you can see that. It's about the size of it, which my wife and I live in it for about 4 to 6 weeks generally in the wintertime when we head south. But
So
it can get a little tough any longer than that.
Mm-hmm.
So John, do you have some lake lots for sale? I got somebody that might be interested.
I've always got some, Jim.
All right. I'll give him your email address if that's okay. Remember Larry from our old
Yes,
our old group in Collinsville?
I sure do. Yeah.
Larry
Mhm.
Shelton, I think it was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Shelton. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I still keep in touch with him, and he was asking about that and your stuff. So I'll tell him to get in touch with you.
Yeah, just give him my information. It's fine. I'll be happy to talk to him.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, how's he doing? Is he doing
He's
okay?
doing okay.
Yeah.
He's doing fine. Yeah.
Oh, good. Mhm.
Is that background is somebody speaking?
Yeah.
Yeah, Andrews.
So I was gonna ask, because we had here they're trying to do those shipping containers, turn those into homes. That got turned down by the city of Cape Girardeau real quick.
It did, huh?
Yeah. So I don't know if there's been any more of that.
Well, I know in St. Charles, we talked about a couple of weeks ago that one of them got in St. Charles City. I don't know if they're gonna, and they had such a hassle over it. I don't know if they may have passed a ordinance since then. That I know the guy that did it had to fight City Hall.
Yeah, it was a big controversy, and I think the guy ended up building one. Couldn't do it in Cape Girardeau, so he just went to Jackson and did it. And I don't even know if I don't know how that got passed. I just didn't hear anything about that, but it exists. It's there.
Yeah, went out in the woods somewhere where nobody else got to look at it.
Yeah.
Of course, that's a good place to have it. You got some acreage.
So John, what you're talking about, is that the same thing as, I've heard them referred to as houses? It's a shed in the house.
Some people call them that. Barn dominiums. Originally they were like pole, like barns that people made into nicer homes. But then pole barns. That's kind of what we're doing right now. We're building one out at our place. And I looked at doing some smaller ones, but you got to work within the guidelines, because as long as you got water and sewer, depending on the community or whatever, you could build one of these fairly inexpensively. And then what I'm thinking is let somebody else finish the inside. You could have them with a loft. I originally, about 20 years ago, we bought for our place out there when we only had 21 acres. I bought a shed, basically it's a shed, one of those somebody put together and delivered it, with a loft. I chose, though, not to sleep in the loft because I didn't want to have to go to the bathroom at 3 a.m. and break my ankle off the ladder. So that's how I dealt with it. But a lot of people that are younger than me might be okay with going up and down the ladder for the loft, like Lloyd was talking about, in the second level. It condenses space. I don't know. I'd rather have something maybe a little bigger than some of the tiny houses. I mean, that's all fine and dandy, but I think for about half the money, you could build a nicer, and I want to call it a micro barndo, just a smaller one, but not quite 160 square foot. I want it bigger than my truck. So, but that's just me.
You can tow it with your truck, though, probably this one.
Yeah.
It's got a hitch on it, and look like it's built on a similar frame to a travel trailer with a tandem axle travel trailer.
I was looking at doing permanent ones, though, with a concrete slab and having actual plumbing and things like that, where you're not gonna haul it off.
Yeah.
I'm going to try one, but I just have to get our stuff done first. I got my hands in a lot of things right now. So, but that's I've talked to some people, and we'll probably do that sometime next year. We'll probably do one and just see how it goes.
Yeah. Good idea.
Mhm.
Oh, anybody else got anything? Yeah, I don't know. Talk about the barnuminium. They're like a lot of, I don't know. Do a lot of the lakes have restrictions on putting like a mobile home on them? I would imagine some of them do, some of them don't.
Most of them have some kind of regulations. Mobile homes are kind of they want them like newer, in most, everyone's a little different, but they want them newer, like less than 5 years old. It has to be on a permanent foundation. There's just, they do have some rules, minimum square footage. It's rare nowadays that you can go buy or go get a free, single wide from 1962 and just kind of bring it in there and throw it up without plumbing. That used to be common in a lot of areas, and they've changed most of the rules, which is a good thing for most of us.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, mobiles are about the most restrictive, I think.
Yeah. My brother had some property up in Lincoln County, and one time he would drove me around up there, and we drove out some of the roads past his place in the woods, and I kind of looked at some of the old mobiles that were sitting on. Everybody had an old mobile sitting on their lot. I said, "Oh, this is where the mobile homes come to die." A lot of them were just being used as sheds. That when they got unlivable, they deteriorated so much they were just storing junk in them.
Well, a lot of them end up leaking in the roofs, and whether people know it or not, it's kind of like a camper if you leave it set out, as you know. So it's just they can be really in bad shape in no time, and that's one of the big problems I see even out by our place. People that put a mobile home there, 20 years ago that they got a great deal on, and now they're just trash, and try to get rid of them. Some of them are hazardous materials.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you got to maintain them. I lived in a mobile home for a couple of years when I was starting out, and yeah, they do have maintenance. Got to get up there every couple of years and seal the roof and keep up with the maintenance on them. Keep the water out, especially with campers too. Their roofs are even less durable than the mobile home ones. That's the reason I'm looking to get to build a barn to put my motorhome in, my current motorhome. protect that roof, make it last a little longer. Because one of mine that was getting near the one of my motorhomes that was getting near the end of its life, because I always bought used ones. That I said, maybe I ought to think about, I was putting a sealer on it every couple of years, and well, maybe I ought to think about just having somebody tear it off. I went through, looked at the videos of replacing the rubber roof on a motorhome, and it's like, or a trailer, and it's, oh my gosh, I don't think I want to go through all that. And maybe I'll just have a professional do it. And I called, there's a place out here in St. Charles that works on motorhomes and trailers, travel trailers and stuff. I called them and told them the size of it. Oh yeah, we can take care of that. $5,000. We'll put a new rubber roof on it. It's like, whoa, wait a second. I didn't pay that much more for my motorhome. And they're going to charge me $5,000. I think I probably bought it for $12,000 to $15,000, and they wanted $5,000 to put it. Okay, I'm going to keep sealing it up for a couple more years until I sold it. I put sealer on it, keeping it weather tight. That's the biggest thing, to make sure they maintain their value when you get older ones. Keep the roofs. Well, same with homes too. Any kind of real estate, you got to keep a good roof on it. Otherwise, it'll deteriorate fast. Oh, let's see. Brenda's got a comment. I have to make cash purchase 600,000 or less. Let's just unmute yourself. Brenda, tell us about your situation.
Okay, good afternoon.
Yeah.
I'm in a program where I have $1.2 million, so I can buy 2 properties, 600,000 or less. I had 6 months to do it and I forgot, because I got caught up in private money lending and all of that. And my deadline is December 1st. And I don't want to lose that opportunity.
Okay. Any particular kind of property that you're?
Livable. I don't want a distressed property because I am from the hood and it distresses me to see distressed properties. I went to see one the other day and I got sick in there, all the stuff falling from the ceiling. So I don't want to see those. So just, I don't have anything really in particular, but just something, I guess, livable. And then I have to have an end buyer. It has to be a double close at the same time. I got to December 1st.
Well,
that's hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you get into those type of properties, unless you get even the multifamilies in that price range, what are they? Yeah, I would say the quantity of buyers is more limited in that price range. In the lower price range properties, you could, if you get have a bigger range of buyers. It would
That's
be
good. I can do that. 100, 200. That's fine. My max is 600.
your max. Okay, max.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I was thinking you had to. Okay, so that would be the maximum. Okay.
Yeah.
Have they given you, whoever you're working with, given you any training on wholesaling and how to market?
Yeah, I can wholesale it. I can buy it and then I can wholesale it to the end buyer.
Mhm.
I can do that.
Have you been doing marketing to the wholesaling type marketing to distressed buyers, probates, and sending out mailings? I mean, that's.
I've just been calling. I bought a lot of, this, and I've been calling and emailing and texting.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, I don't do any wholesaling myself, and if there are any wholesalers on here today that maybe you'll give Brenda an idea of where to start to get. This will be your first investments.
Mhm. Yes.
And you're
Hey, this is Rich Groves, Lloyd. Can you hear me?
Go ahead, Rich. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Hey, Brenda, thanks. Nice to meet you. I know. Hold on. Let me turn on my camera. Put a face with it. See if I'm even showing up here. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, so I do wholesaling in the St. Louis area as well as, rental properties and a couple flips here and there. But anyway, so if I'm understanding correctly, as I'm listening to Lloyd's questioning you and trying to uncover your intent and what your experience level is. So you pretty much don't have a buyer. So you need the deal and a buyer, right?
Correct.
Okay, just double check and make sure I know that.
Mhm.
I mean, have you done anything to market for the deals themselves? Not necessarily the buyers, just the deals.
Yeah, I bought a list. I bought a list from this guy in Pakistan. Sent me 100 leads. So I've been calling them. And then I just got 100 leads the other day for $1. So I've been calling and emailing and texting. I got a couple of people who they're going to have some homes available by the end of the month, the 1st of December, but that's too late now.
Gotcha.
So, which is still good, but not for this.
I see. So, and then a couple questions, when you said you're not interested in distressed properties, are you talking about properties in distressed areas, or because obviously that sweet spot in wholesaling is getting a property that needs some work, right? So if it may be in a decent area, but needs some work, that's where you're going to get, the best deals. Is that you want to stay away from that too? So you just want turnkey properties?
Yeah, I mean, I can do distressed properties in a decent area. I'm scared to go in some places, and it's just me. I don't have anybody to go with me.
I hear you.
So
no, I understand. Yeah. That's where I was just wondering, when you said you're from, and just usually, I think I'm quoting you, I might be paraphrasing. You said you're from the hood, so that distresses you, right? Isn't that what you said?
Yeah.
Right. So I'm just trying to, that's why I was like, well, does she just mean distressed areas or distressed properties? Hey, this needs a new kitchen, new bathroom, and maybe some paint, that kind of distress.
Right. That's fine. That's fine.
Okay. Gotcha. Just wanted to clarify on that. Okay. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I have a couple of leads on some deals. Don't have anything under contract that we can work on together, but I mean, I don't mean to step on any toes here at all, Lloyd and John. So, I mean, if I, offer to work with you, Brenda, I don't want to step on anybody's toes. Like, I'd love to give you my information to work with you on this.
What do you mean by stepping on anyone's toes?
Well, this isn't my, it's not my group. So I'm just trying to be respectful for the group. That's all.
If you want to pass on your information to Brenda, we don't mind. That's what we like, just connecting people. We're not wholesalers. We don't have anything to sell ourselves.
Yeah, sure. No, I just wanted to be respectful.
We like connecting people together. Sure. And we got a lot of wholesalers. We usually have a couple of wholesalers on days like this. So,
sure. So Brenda, if you want to take down my number and then you want to reach out to me, we can talk offline.
Okay.
My number is 314-675-0044. And again, my name is Rich Groves with Metro STL Homes.
Okay.
And I'd love to help you try to get something done, because you said this is gonna be your first one.
Yes.
Yeah, so let's work hard. I mean, I know we got a short time frame to find something and get it to somebody. So let's just bust at it, huh?
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. No promises, but we're gonna work.
Right.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
okay. No problem. Okay. Good. Okay. Glad we made a connection here today. At least one.
Right.
One connection. Sometimes we make several on our calls here on Friday. The more the better. I mean, that's what we're doing this for. Just to connect people, and that's what we're about. We're not in the business of we don't have anything to sell, or we're not looking to profit or sell. We're the only not-for-profit group in St. Louis. We've been around since 1977. So investors have somewhere, a shoulder to cry on. We have a sympathetic listener and somebody that has been through this already. I know when I started out, I hate to say, I joined this group in 1980. What's that been? Over 40 years ago?
My graduation year.
Your graduation, don't tell me. No, you're making me feel old. I feel old enough already. And there's a lot of mature people, more mature people than myself those days. And I came in a lot of times after I had a couple of rental properties down in the South City, and I would bring my woes in. Oh, I got this tenant that's doing this, and she won't move, and all this and stuff. And somebody said, come on, took me aside after the meeting. They gave me a couple ideas, and I went and tried a couple ideas, and golly, it worked. It's, hey, that guy knows something. And that's how it's gotten me to stick with the process here. And here I am 40 years later, and I'm still doing rentals, and it's helped me get to where I am. I was able to retire from the Boeing company about 10 years earlier than most of my counterparts, just because I had another source of income on the side. And my wife and I started our family. We had because of that second source of income, she was able to stay home with the kids and raise our two children, be a full-time mom, whereas most everybody else was like, two hamsters on a wheel with, two parents working, dropping the kids off at daycare and that kind of thing. So it's been a good run for me. And that's why I'm here, just to pay back and pass on what I can and help connect people. So, and providing good education too, educational materials. So, but we've got, if you haven't been to one of our live meetings, we've had some of our older members that have downsizing, retiring, downsizing their libraries, have donated a ton of educational materials in the real estate investing area. And we are offering those at pittance. And we're only put a price on some to make sure nobody hoards them all. So much good information. We got a whole table of free materials, and then we got a $5 and a $10 and a $20 table, and that's the one where you get a whole weekend seminar with Ron LeGrand with the materials and the tapes and everything that people have paid. I know there's one there that I know I paid $695 for on lease options, doing lease options, and the books and everything right there for sale. Because they took the same. This couple took the same course that I did. So, or I think that was on the $10 table. Anyway, yeah, if you can join us. Well, we won't be meeting in December. We meet the third Tuesday of every month, 11 months a year, except December. We'll be getting back together on January, and we've got such a inventory. They had such a large library that we couldn't possibly get it all in. And I'm not going to lug it away. It's sitting in my basement now. And between me and Dan Heyman, our vice president, he's got part of it in his basement too. So we're hauling in a little bit at a time every month. And so if you've been there and looked at it, come back next month and take a look again. We'll have new stuff out every month. Our meeting January is going to be the 18th. I got that marked. Ooh, that's the same day my estimated taxes are due. I kind of marked down my calendar. But anyway, the third Tuesday of January, we'll be back together live at the Moolah Shrine Center, the Oasis Room, 6:30. So keep track on our website. We got our directions and registration there. And if you can't be there live, join us on Zoom. We're going to continue to do our Zoom format for people that aren't ready to get out, or during the pandemic, we attracted a lot of out of town investors in the St. Louis area. They want to keep up with what's going on in the St. Louis area, and so they insisted, hey, we want to don't forget about us when you go back live. So we're continuing to have a Zoom. We got some great technical team that's got us connected to both the Zoom and live here in St. Louis. So please stay in touch. Watch our website. If you join us on Meetup, I post all our meetings on Meetup. So, okay. Well, anybody else thought of anything while I've been jabbering on here? Go on. If not, I don't have anything else. I got you've been on with it before. I got my grandson again. It seems like every other Friday. We're babysitting. He's down for a nap now, and so far quiet. I don't hear any fussing down in his room. So.
Hey, Roger. Lloyd. Hi, Lloyd.
Yes. Hi.
Hi. I have a question.
Sure.
apologize again for missing the meeting. In fact, I just got back from the dentist. It wasn't good
Okay.
news, but anyway, that's a whole other story.
Yeah.
I have a question about subject 2. I've never done one. How does it negatively impact the seller, the homeowner? What if they'd like to buy a new home?
It could impact them if they're, what I know about it, I'll tell you what I know about it. And I've had a course on subject 2. It's been a while. But if it's a VA loan, your seller would not be able to get another VA loan for the personal residence until that one is sold. If it's just a conventional loan that you're taking over, as long as I think as long as you got the right, I think there was some paperwork in the package that you could give them to show that that you're relieving them of their responsibility, and or you're taking over their responsibility of their previous mortgage, so that they could get another additional mortgage, and that you're covering those payments in the future. Anybody else familiar with subject 2? That's where you buy a property and you leave the existing mortgage, the seller's existing mortgage in place, and you just assume it. And in times when, I know that was big, when a lot of people were upside down on their mortgages and wanted to get out of a house, you could probably find a lot of places that people wanted to do that. If you were willing to take it over, if it wasn't too upside down, and you're able to lease it for more than the payment, get a little cash flow, positive cash flow until things turned around, that you might be able to sell it in the future. I know the program that I purchased on that said they were looking to just find a lease option buyer and put that lease option buyer in place into that subject 2 property. And then that lease option buyer then would pay to a third party that would cover the mortgage and any other additional payments that were promised to either yourself as the intermediary, or to the seller if there was any portion of it coming back to the seller. And generally there's not. Generally that would be like a one-time payment up front to give some money for the seller to move on to another property or move into an apartment, or relieve them of their financial responsibilities on the mortgage on the existing house that you're taking over.
You ask about negative effects on the seller there.
Yes.
One thing that you may want to look at is the debt ratio if they're going to get another mortgage. Now, if they're behind on their mortgage, and you're bringing it up to bring it up to date, then it could actually have a positive impact on it. But if they want to go buy another house, because that's not the issue, sometimes they'll have to take that into consideration. And debt ratio just means how much you got coming in to how much you have going out. So if it's another primary residence, kind of like Lloyd said with the VA loan, that's all in consideration. Most of the time, with my experience and the ones in the past, after you've made payments on behalf of the person you're buying it for about 6 months, regardless of what has happened before then, it will usually have a positive impact. Then if you have your paperwork in line, they could actually do that, kind of like Lloyd was talking, like a lease option. That's a good way to do it, because people kind of understand that. Depending on the lender, they have the due on sale clauses and all that kind of stuff. I've never really had anybody ever take that into consideration. My experience is if you're making payments on their behalf, the lenders will take the payments. They don't care where it comes from or anything else. I've had paperwork to where I had the authorization from them and all that kind of stuff. And most of the time they just didn't care about it, as long as you're making the payments. Now, if you stop making the payments, that's a whole different story.
Different story, right?
So, it just depends on how you do it. But negative impact, there's always a possibility of a negative impact anytime somebody else takes over payments. It just depends really on your integrity, probably more than theirs, because most of the time they're looking for a solution to get out of their situation. So I don't know if that helps, but that's just my experience with it.
It does, John. Thank you. Thank you, Lloyd. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as far as I do recall, I'm thinking back to the course that I took. They suggested, I don't know what their impacts are, but they suggested to put, rather than putting it in your own name, you could put it in a trust, put the property in a trust. And in the name of the trust, you put the name, you include the name of your seller. So send that to the bank to say, now your checks are going to come from this trust. Then they may not even, if they had any hesitation about somebody else taking over the payments, they may just not realize that it's another person, because they just think that person is putting in a trust. But in reality, the trust that you created has yourself as the beneficiary of the trust, even though in the name of it, as we know, if we've been, talk to Dan Bryan, you can name a trust anything, any kind of name you want to name a trust, and you can include in the name of the trust the name of the seller that's giving up the property. That might alleviate some problem if there weren't any issues with the lender on the loan.
Yeah, hi, this is Roger.
Hey, Roger. Yeah, there you go. Okay, talk about Roger. Talk about your.
Yeah, I perked up when you talked about Dan's trust class, because he's going to be giving it again soon. He hasn't told anybody yet, but he told me. So hasn't picked date yet, but it's coming soon. I often attend that and answer questions.
I know you do. Yeah, I've been there a couple times.
And I think that a subject to is I'm glad you brought up the strategy, because using a trust to cover over that issue with the subject to, so that it's a trust in the name, where the name of the seller is still involved, but where you're controlling it, because you're going to be the trustee. You could be the trustee and the beneficiary, both, as long as you might make two different things. You might, that's TMI, but basically the seller is going to be the grantor. So as long as all three are not the same, the grantor, the trustee, and the beneficiary, it's a valid trust. And the grantor will be the seller, and you can be the trustee and maybe make your own LLC that you control the beneficiary, for example.
Sure.
And that's a great way to do a subject too, because to the bank, it'll look like it's still the seller, and then maybe when the seller tries to go get a new loan. I never thought of that, but because it is a little bit of a problem, or it could be sometimes a problem if their credit won't support a second loan. They're looking at them like, that is the only downside. But at least you're not worried about the due on sale, and you're not worried about getting permission from the first bank and all that. So rather than try to do an actual assignment, putting it in trust and having yourself as the trust beneficiary essentially accomplishes the same thing.
All right. Thanks, Roger.
Yeah, sure. No problem.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for chiming in there. Forgot you were online. I shouldn't have been even talking about trust. I should have just turned the whole question over to you to start with. Thank you.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I've actually been busy. I've been busy part of the time, but I was listening at that point. Right?
Okay. We had one of your ears anyway. Good.
No, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
just don't want to negatively impact the seller, the homeowner.
Well, that's good that you're worried about that, but I forget who made the point, but the point was made that most of the time a subject to is helping a person get out of a situation that they're stuck in. There's no reason to do, because after all, why are they doing a subject to? It's usually because they're struggling with making the payments for some reason. So I wouldn't just, willy-nilly, I wouldn't do a subject to when there's no reason to, because it is going to put more pressure on their credit. If they're not a financially strong party to begin with, then there may have trouble buying another house. Now that what they most likely, in my experience, a person doing a subject to is also likely to go off and rent somewhere. I mean, not try to be buying right away. That if they could afford to buy, then they could afford to solve whatever problem they're having that's putting them in the situation of needing a subject to in the first place. So as long as, and then if you're like he said, if you're bringing their credit current, you're doing them a big favor. I mean, you're helping their credit. So that's the ideal situation in which to do it. For someone who doesn't need it financially, it probably isn't a good idea, you know. And I've never seen it used really with someone with a strong seller who's got no financial problems and who has a house that's well worth, you know, worth what it's worth. In other words, the house is worth more than the mortgage that they've got on it. I don't see why you would be into the world of subject twos in the first place.
They are upside down.
Well, then, yeah. Well, then you're helping.
That's right. Yeah,
So
you're
yes,
helping out.
will it have some impact? Yeah, some, but lot less than being 3 months behind, lot less impact than being 3 months behind on your mortgage. Okay. Or having missed payments altogether. That's much worse than having a mortgage that's current and now you're trying to get another mortgage. Okay, that too might not work, but if it's current, you got a better chance than 3 months behind or missed payments or whatever. So you're usually helping them, not hurting them. But yes, there is the impact of having us trying to get another mortgage when you still have a mortgage. Yeah, okay. That's not going to be so easy for some people, but it's better than, like I said, it's better than being behind or having missed payments. You're basically helping their financial situation. You're strengthening it most of the time. But you should explain that, yeah, they'll notice that you still have a mortgage. You got to get another mortgage. You need to be, the key is disclosure. The key of avoiding a problem later with your seller being upset about anything is that you tell them that up front. I am bringing your current that's going to be better for you, but yes, and I'm going to pay the taxes. You know, often that goes with it too, right? No taxes, no insurance. You got to be, if you're going to bring that whole house that they're selling you subject to, you're going to bring all those things current, then you're doing them a big favor. But yes, they will still have a mortgage on their record. A bank will see that mortgage. Another bank will see that mortgage, and they might hesitate to lend them to make another mortgage. But so what? So go rent for a while. I mean, you're still in a better position. You, the seller, are still in a better position than you would have been otherwise. Where you're going to fall behind and maybe get foreclosed on, or who knows what. So
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's a good point. Yeah, basically, when you get involved in those kind of situations, you're their problem solver. Otherwise, they wouldn't be talking to you about
That's right.
selling their house or letting you take over their payments. So if they're willing to get into that conversation, it's probably because they're behind on their payments, and you bring everything up current. You're going to solve their problem, but you need to let them know what the potential consequences are, though. And
Disclosure is the key.
I agree.
I know everything that could go wrong. Say, show them what your background is and how financially stable you are, and they'll feel more comfortable.
Roger, I'm sorry to step outside. You may have mentioned this, but doesn't that loan have to be allowed to be subject to? If not, the bank would call it.
No.
Well, it could be something, and you should look at the paperwork to make sure there's nothing weird in it. But in that regard, but mostly you have the due on sale situation. But as was already mentioned, a bank will very rarely bother with calling a loan. It's not in there, that's being brought current. It's totally against their own interest for them to fuss about someone who wants to come in and bring the loan current. So you just try not to make too much noise. You are flying a little under the radar, but it's not illegal, in quotes. Dan Bryan likes to say, illegal is a sick is a sick bird. We don't know what illegal is. Ask a lawyer what's illegal. You know, he always says. So I'm the lawyer he turns to, and I say, yeah, well, illegal is not a term, and you never hear a lawyer use the term that's illegal, because there's just so many layers and complications to what that means or could mean or does or doesn't mean. You could say that violates a particular statute or that violates a particular thing. So in this case, all you have, you're not violating the law. You're just violating a provision that gives the bank the right to call the loan if you transfer ownership. That right is, I've basically never seen it exercised in my career when the loan is being kept current. Because all they're going to do is turn a performing loan into a non-performing loan on their books, which is absolutely not what they want to do. So yes, there's a little risk if you want to look at it that way. That risk is pretty small. It does create problems, as was mentioned. If you then fall behind, you don't want to do that.
No,
Right. But as long as it's really current, you should be okay. And the other trick is the trust trick. Again, you didn't hear that before, but and I forget your name that just came back in. But if you put it in a trust with, if your seller is named, Terry Johnson, then if you call it, the Johnson something trust, and only you're the trustee and you're the beneficiary, and the Johnsons are just the grantors, then the bank may not even notice. They'll think it's an estate planning trust in the name of I'm never saying you lie to them. If they ask you, you show them the trust and you tell the truth, but they won't ask most of the time. Oh, it's being transferred to trust. And if the trust is named in a sort of vanilla flavored way, the Johnson Revocable Living Trust, they're going to assume it's an estate planning trust, and they're not going to bat an eyelash, because that doesn't trigger the due on sales clause.
all right.
That's another way to do it.
And should have an authorization to talk to the bank as well.
Well, if you even need to, you may not need to bother the bank.
Not bother them at all, sure.
Yeah, they'll take your checks. They'll take your checks. Seriously.
Well, yeah, if you wanted to verify the information that your seller is giving you,
Yeah.
they are
Yeah.
behind.
Oh, well, yeah. Okay.
I'll give you the account number and the information.
Yeah.
You could call probably the automated line, or to call somebody.
Yeah.
Verify where I am on the mortgage and give them the mortgage number and everything, and they can verify what the situation is, if they're behind and how much they're behind. And you probably, you definitely wouldn't want to do that. You wouldn't want to be surprised later on finding out.
No. Yeah, of
They're
course.
telling you they're 1 month behind, and actually they're
Yeah.
6 months behind.
No, for sure.
And about to be foreclosed on. Yeah, you don't want any surprises like that.
No.
So you want to verify the situation with the bank that they're telling you is true.
Yes.
It's always a good idea to get an authorization to release information.
Yes.
And one of the
We
things I have always done is got it notarized too. That way I have one in my file at any time that I can give to the bank or anybody else on their behalf, even their insurance company, because I was always an additional insured when I do those deals. So it's just a good idea to get one. And in fact, 2 of them is ideal, because that way you can make one very specific and you can have one that you could fill in as needed. That's just my experience with them. And it's always worked well for me.
All
That's
right.
great. Well, I agree with both of those things. And I never thought about being an additional insured. That's cool. That makes a lot of sense.
Oh, this has been a great conversation. Great information. I really appreciate it.
Hey,
I learned a lot.
the whole seminar here without paying the $5 for the one that was on our table at the meeting. So
Laura, it was well worth your $75 yearly dues, right?
Oh, without a doubt, Jim,
Yeah.
without a doubt.
you got 10 times the value just out of this conversation.
Absolutely, yeah. Hey, Roger, I didn't have to pay you for your hourly fee.
Hey, don't get too cocky with him. He's liable to send you a bill yet, Laura. He knows.
Yeah, right. If you want, I'll send you, yeah, exactly. If you want, I was gonna say, if you want, I'll send you a bill if it makes you feel better, you know. Yeah. You know, that's, whatever. Yeah, sure. All right.
Thanks, guys.
Okay.
But if you do a deal and it ever gets in trouble, you know, I do it for that reason too, for sure.
There you go.
I figure that someone will call me back and say, wait, what do I do now?
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
true. There we go.
Yeah, so, all right. And guys, I gotta sign off.
Okay.
I gotta go. So
Hey,
that's the end.
thanks for coming on. Thanks for
yeah.
coming on today, Roger. Appreciate it.
Yeah. No
Appreciate it.
problem.
You're welcome.
And I'm sorry, I didn't realize the meeting was last Tuesday. I probably would have come, but when's the next?
January, we were just mentioned earlier.
Because I know you don't have one in December usually, right?
We don't meet in December.
Yeah.
January the 18th is our next one.
18th.
The Shriners facility on PP Road.
Oh, you're not at the St. Louis Real Estate?
No, you haven't been to our new facility. It's even bigger. We're in the Oasis.
The Shriners is up on Fifi, where Fifi meets with McKelvey and
Ross Road and Fifi.
Ross.
We're in the lower level, the Oasis room in the lower level now.
Okay, I know I've never actually been in that building, but I know what you're talking about.
I hadn't either until we went to check it out. It's a huge, beautiful room.
I've heard, yeah.
Plenty of room to spread out. It's
Lower level of that, the Shriners, it's the Shriners Temple?
yeah. Come down. It's actually
You come up Ross Road and you get to Fifi or something like that?
Yeah. Hey, Roger, I
Yeah.
just sent you an email, and if you scroll down to the bottom of that email, there's a map of
great.
where to go.
Yeah, there's a map that Diana sends out for these when she sends out this is for the actual meetings. It's got a little map on there too, and we got it on our website too. STLREIA.com.
Okay.
There's a map associated with showing everybody how our new meeting place.
Okay. So the
Thank you
18th.
for coming on.
Good.
Yeah.
Or I put it back, get it all back in my calendar again. I think it sort of fell off after all this time. All right. Very
Okay.
good. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Okay, you too. Have a good holiday.
Gonna scoot. Yes, you too. Good Thanksgiving too. Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, anybody else got anything? You're here to drop off. And if you're not familiar with Roger, he is an attorney. That's why he chimed in when I was talking about trust. He heard Dan Bryan's name, and he always participates in Dan Bryan's trust class. Several of those for us over the years. I think I've sat through 2 of them so far. I'll have to sit through a 3rd one before it really sinks in. It's a lot going on there, but it's a good information, good stuff to know. Whether you're using a trust just for your real estate or for estate planning. A lot of good stuff. And Roger kind of backs him up because he is an attorney and he deals with trusts.
So tell Bruce we're not having a meeting next Friday. I think in the chat.
Okay, yeah, well, I'll say again, we're not meeting next Friday. We're not gonna be, no, we're not meeting next Friday. Because everybody's gonna be out shopping. If not, we're gonna be having a nice weekend off. So we'll be back together on December 3rd is the first Friday, and so we'll have Kathy Davis back again. Give us an update on the status of what's going on in the court system in Lewis City, County, Jefferson County, St. Charles County, how things are going there. How back to normal, how backed up they are with doing evictions if you're having some issues. She always gives the advice, if you're considering doing any of it, go ahead and start the process. Don't hesitate any longer. The sooner you get your notices in, the better off you'll be. So start an eviction, you're having problems with a tenant, go ahead and contact her and they'll get the process started. Yeah, we're gonna be recovering from eating too much if you don't eat too much turkey. Don't eat too much turkey. So, anybody else got any final remarks? If not, hey, thank everybody for coming on today. Thank you, John, for setting us up. And we'll see you in 2 weeks.
All right, thank you.
Have a
Happy
great day.
Thanksgiving.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Hey,
Thank you.
take care of yourself, Laura.
All right. Thank you.
See you in 2 weeks.